A new leak points to a Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra with a nearly creaseless inner display. And if that holds up, Samsung may be fixing the one problem that has stopped a lot of serious buyers from spending around $1,899 to well over $2,099 on a foldable phone. That matters because for years, the Galaxy Z Fold line has looked futuristic, but the crease kept reminding people they were paying flagship money for a compromise. If Samsung removes or dramatically reduces that weakness, the buying decision changes fast. And no, this is not just about looks. A flatter, cleaner inner screen affects reading, writing, drawing, gaming, video, and long-term ownership value. If you use a foldable for work, or you want one premium device instead of both a phone and a small tablet, that single change could offer a better return on investment than a small camera bump or a faster chip ever could. But that is not the biggest change. The more important question is whether Samsung is finally preparing an ultra foldable that feels less like an experiment and more like a true premium productivity upgrade. That means display quality, hinge durability, battery efficiency, thermal control, and whether it can actually justify a price that may push into high-end iPhone Pro Max and premium laptop territory. Right now, most buyers are stuck between three risky choices: buy current Galaxy Z Fold model and risk purchasing too early, wait for the Fold 8 Ultra and hope the leak is real, or skip Samsung entirely and look at rivals like the Google Pixel Fold line, OnePlus Open, or even a traditional flagship like the Galaxy S Ultra and iPhone Pro Max. Here is where things get very interesting. If Samsung really delivers a much cleaner inner display, this is not just a spec sheet win. In real-world use, a less visible crease means fewer distractions when editing documents, reviewing spreadsheets, watching video, reading ebooks, or using split-screen apps for a professional workflow. It is the kind of upgrade you notice every single day, not once during setup, and that directly affects whether this becomes a smart purchase. A lot of premium tech buyers do not mind spending more. They mind paying more for obvious compromises. That has been the Fold's biggest problem. At roughly $1,800 to $2,100, buyers expect a flagship experience, not a product that keeps reminding them where the screen bends. Now, let's be careful. This is still leak territory, not a confirmed launch spec. So the smart way to look at this is not Samsung fixed everything. The smart way is to ask what a creaseless or nearly creaseless panel would actually mean compared to the Fold 6, the Fold 7 if it launches first in some markets, and top alternatives like the OnePlus Open. And yes, Samsung needs this, because in many comparisons, the OnePlus Open has been praised for making the crease less distracting, while Google has focused more on software and multitasking. Samsung still leads in software support, ecosystem advantage, accessory support, multitasking polish, and long-term ownership confidence. But hardware perception matters, especially at this price. That single detail could decide whether people upgrade. Most buyers comparing specs are completely missing one thing. The crease is not just a visual flaw. It affects how premium the entire device feels over 2 or 3 years of use. When you spend nearly $2,000, emotional quality matters almost as much as benchmark performance. Think about the daily experience. If you open your phone 100 times a day and the center of the display feels smoother, looks flatter, and reflects light more evenly, the device immediately feels more refined. That creates stronger upgrade value than a chip improvement you only notice in side-by-side testing. And Samsung still has to back it up with performance. By the time a Fold 8 Ultra arrives, buyers will expect flagship silicon, likely something in the class of Snapdragon 8 Elite or whatever top-tier Qualcomm platform is current at launch. In real-world terms, that should mean faster photo processing, smoother multitasking with 3 or 4 apps open, better AI features, and improved gaming performance without heavy thermal throttling. But the numbers alone will not be enough. If app loading improves by, say, 10 to 15% over the previous generation. That is nice. If battery efficiency adds 1 extra hour of mixed use on a large foldable, that is useful. But if the display finally stops feeling like a prototype, that is the feature people will actually remember. And this is the part almost nobody is talking about. A nearly creaseless display could also improve S Pen usage, even if Samsung keeps pen support limited or optional. For note-taking, sketching, PDF markup, and creator workflow tasks, a smoother center area matters more than many camera upgrades. If you are a professional or student using the inner screen as a mini workspace, that is a real productivity upgrade. Now, let's talk competition. If the Fold 8 Ultra lands around $1,999, Samsung will be asking buyers to choose it over the iPhone 17 Pro Max tier, the Galaxy S Ultra tier, premium tablets, and in some cases even thin and light laptops from Dell, Lenovo, or Apple. That means Samsung cannot win on novelty alone. It has to win on value. And value here means replacing more than one device. If a Fold 8 Ultra gives you a great phone, a great reading screen, a real multitasking display, strong video calls, reliable cameras, and better pen input, then the high price starts to look more like an investment. Spread $1,999 across 3 years, and you're looking at roughly $55 a month before trade-ins. For a business user or creator, that can make sense. But there is one feature almost nobody is talking about. Durability may become just as important as the crease itself. A flatter, more advanced panel is only a smart investment if Samsung also improves the hinge, screen layers, and long-term resistance to wear. Buyers do not just want a prettier foldable. They want one that still feels premium after 18 months. That is where Samsung has a real opportunity. If it combines a better display with stronger dust resistance, improved battery life, and more efficient thermals, the Fold 8 Ultra could finally become the best smartphone for professionals who want one device for communication and productivity. That is a much stronger market position than just the most expensive Samsung phone. But wait until you think about timing. If you're holding a Galaxy Z Fold 4 or Fold 5 right now, this leak matters a lot. Those users are exactly the people who have lived with the crease long enough to know how much it affects the ownership experience. For them, the display alone could justify waiting instead of upgrading to an in-between model. For Fold 6 owners, the math is very different. A one-generation jump almost never gives the best return on investment in foldables unless there is a massive battery, camera, or durability leap. So if you already own a recent Fold, you should be extremely careful about chasing leaks. The Fold 8 Ultra needs to deliver more than cosmetic refinement to be worth the cost. Here is the strongest curiosity gap in this entire story. The display may get all the headlines, but the real make-or-break detail could be thickness. If Samsung can reduce the crease and also make the Fold 8 Ultra thinner when closed, that changes pocket comfort, one-handed use, and whether people can actually use the outer display like a normal phone. That is the hidden feature that could change everything. Because this has always been the trade-off. Foldables promise 2 devices in one, but many still feel too thick, too expensive, and just a little too compromised. Fixing only the crease helps. Fixing the crease and the closed phone experience turns this into a much smarter purchase for mainstream premium buyers. And Samsung cannot ignore cameras either. The Ultra branding creates expectations. Buyers will want image quality that feels close to the Galaxy S Ultra line, not just acceptable for a foldable results. If Samsung improves low-light performance, zoom reliability, and video stabilization, then the Fold 8 Ultra becomes easier to justify for creators who need one premium device for work and travel. The numbers look impressive, but real-world ownership tells a different story. A foldable does not win because Geekbench is higher by a few hundred points. It wins if your email, documents, messaging, calendar, editing, streaming, and camera use all feel better every day. Premium ownership is about friction. The best devices remove it. This is why this leak matters so much. Samsung is not just trying to launch another foldable. It may be trying to remove the last obvious excuse buyers use to avoid foldables. And if that happens, competitors like Google and OnePlus will have to respond fast. Still, there are risks. A more advanced display could push pricing even higher. If Samsung goes beyond $2,099 without major camera and battery improvements, the value equation gets weaker. At that point, some buyers may be better off with a Galaxy S Ultra plus a tablet or an iPhone Pro Max plus iPad, especially if they care more about camera quality than multitasking. And software support remains a major advantage. Samsung usually gives buyers strong long-term value through updates, trade-in programs, deck-style productivity options, and a mature foldable software experience. That ecosystem advantage matters if you plan to keep the device for years. It lowers the risk of buying into premium tech early. So after looking at everything, here's who should actually care. If you're a casual user who mostly texts, scrolls, watches videos, and takes a few photos, the Fold 8 Ultra is probably not the best value unless Samsung keeps pricing surprisingly aggressive. A standard flagship gives you better financial efficiency. If you're a power user, multitasker, or mobile professional, this is exactly the kind of leak you should watch closely. A nearly creaseless inner display, paired with flagship performance and solid battery life, could finally make the foldable premium experience worth the price. If you're a creator, the decision depends on cameras and pen support. If Samsung also upgrades imaging and keeps the inner display great for editing, notes, and content review, this could become one of the best productivity phones on the market. If you're a gamer, wait for thermal performance details. A foldable screen is amazing for gaming, but only if sustained frame rates stay stable and battery drain is under control. A faster chip means nothing if performance drops hard after 20 minutes. If you're upgrading from a 2 or 3-year-old foldable like the Fold 4 or Fold 5, waiting for the Fold 8 Ultra makes a lot of sense. That is where the biggest long-term value could be. If you already own the current generation, do not rush. The smart money says wait for full specs, real-world testing, and trade-in pricing before making that investment. So here is the final verdict. Buy now only if you need a foldable immediately and find a major discount on the current model. Upgrade if you are on an older Fold and the Fold 8 Ultra launches with a truly reduced crease, better durability, and competitive battery life. Wait if you are a current Fold owner, an S Ultra owner, or anyone sensitive to price, because this launch could either become the best value foldable Samsung has made or an overpriced premium experiment. Skip it entirely if cameras are your top priority, and Samsung does not bring ultra-level imaging to match the Ultra name. If this leak proves true, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra could be the moment foldables stop feeling like early adopter tech and start feeling like a smart long-term purchase. And if Samsung pulls that off, the comparison with Google, OnePlus, and the next iPhone becomes a lot more serious very quickly.